Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Authors Excerpt Sunday. We are here. We are here. We are here for another marvelous time for our time with authors from all over. So today, our special guest is Miss Pamela R Haynes. And hello, Miss Pamela. How are you doing today, honey?
I'm okay. I'm not too bad, thank you. Delighted to be here. So thanks for the invitation.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome, dear. You're welcome. So, how's your day been?
Very well, thank you. It's a bit bitterly cold here in the UK, so I've spent the day indoors, but I've had a good day, thanks.
Oh, okay, okay. All right. So we're gonna I wanna introduce Miss Hayes. Her name is Miss Pamela Hayes. Has over 30 years of experience working in the criminal justice system and has worked in a variety of probation office roles and settings, namely as a court programming facilitator. She became a practice development assessor in 2002. Worked with training probation officer studies on the BSC Community Justice Program. Miss Pam has been a guest lecturer at Hertfordshire University, and she has previously sat on the probation studies examination board. Miss Pam is retired from her role as a senior probation officer in 2008. So, Miss Pam, how does that how 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 is retirement? How is retirement from working in that field?
Yeah, I had a little giggle there because you said Hertfordshire. We
Uh-huh.
say Hertfordshire.
Oh,
So it's
okay.
just in the pronunciation. And I actually
Okay.
retired in 2018, so 4 years ago. And I've been very busy with my books, so that's taken up a chunk of my time. Loving the Brothers was published on the 8th of January 2018.
Mhm.
So you know what it's like when you put your book out to the world, you then have to market your book and get your book into different spaces. So I
Mhm.
have been working hard to get my book into local bookshops and also into libraries as well. So the library system here is a bit disjointed, which means that you have to try and get it into individual libraries or groups of libraries at the same time. So that's been my main goal, really. I've been able to use the Loving the Brothers as a catalyst to um, talk to people about domestic abuse, raise awareness about domestic abuse on TV, radio, and I've had a few articles written about me. I really didn't think that the book would blow up the way that it has, which has meant that it has kept me very, very busy.
Oh, okay. Okay. So, what part of England are you from?
Yeah, I live in Forest Gate, which is in East London.
Oh, okay.
And I grew up in an area called Canning Town, which
Hmm.
is still in East London.
Yeah.
But all of my ties are in the East End. I have
Okay.
two brothers and two sisters. My brothers live in Australia, and
Mhm.
my sisters live in Essex, which is the next big city heading east from where I live. And my
Okay.
parents hail from Barbados, so they came here decades and decades ago. So I've
Yeah.
got a rich heritage in the Caribbean also.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. So, what started you on your writing journey?
Yeah, I would say that I've always been a reader.
Mhm.
So my chunk of my childhood was spent in Canning Town Library, reading books from there. They also had a play scheme. So during the holidays, that's where me and my siblings spent most of our time as well, with organized activities and so on. So I've always been a good reader. And I suppose when I became an adult, it was always one of those things that I aspired to do, was to write my own book. So I was approaching a milestone birthday in 2018. But in
Mhm.
2016, I thought, let's have a look at some of these things that I've got on my bucket list
Okay.
to do. So it came down to three things that I wanted to do: go on a
Mhm.
cruise, a Caribbean cruise, um,
Okay.
do my masters. If I start it in 2016, I will walk across the stage in 2018 for my
Mhm.
birthday, or
Okay.
write a book.
Okay.
But as you know, these things cost money to do. And
Yeah.
it came down to me choosing between doing my master's or writing a book.
Mhm.
I can tell you, over here in London, it's going to cost me maybe £3,000 and upwards to do a master's.
Okay.
And in the end, I chose to write a book. I happened to go to an award ceremony. I was somebody's
Yeah.
plus one. She was picking up the award. And I
Mhm.
happened to sit next to a woman who had a stack of her books next to her called Geraldine's Pearl. And I say what I always say when I meet authors, one day I'm going to write my book. And she said, well, I'm moving into publishing, so keep
Mhm.
in touch with me. And
Okay.
the rest, as they say, is history, because
Oh,
2 years
okay.
later, Loving the Brothers was produced and published, and it's here now. That's what the book looks like.
Yeah.
As you
Yes,
can see,
ma'am.
oh, we've got your
Yes,
copy.
ma'am.
Wonderful.
Yes,
I love that.
ma'am.
And the painting is behind me. But so for my
Yes.
last birthday in 2021, my children
Okay.
got a replica painting for me, which I'm
Oh,
absolutely, ecstatic about. It was really,
okay.
really something quite special. And
Okay.
yeah, Love and the Brothers is here now, and it's doing really well.
Okay. So we know about loving the brothers. So what's up with loving the sisters?
Okay,
Okay.
well, Loving the Brothers is part one.
Yes.
So that sets the scene. It's based in the UK, so the stories happen in around London, places that I know, and places that some of your viewers may know as well. So they would have heard of the Olympic Stadium, for example, because the Olympics were here in 2012. We
Hmm.
have a brand new shopping centre opened called Westfield, and it's really, really popular with tourists when they come to London. My characters go to Westfield Shopping Centre, and the story
Okay.
is also part based in Jamaica. So they have reason to travel to Westmoreland, which is
Yeah.
Jamaica, for a funeral where my main protagonists meet up. So that's part one. That's setting the scene. That's telling
Mhm.
you, a lot more information about how Black people live in the UK. And
Mhm.
the kind of activities that we do. It looks at what Black courtship might be like, and how that works. And our
Mhm.
dating scene is very different to the dating scene in the US. And
Mhm.
part two is tells you the story how the women galvanize, how they organize, how they support each other through what's
Mhm.
happening in their relationships until its
Mhm.
conclusion. So it continues. You don't miss anything. The last sentence of Loving the Brothers is the first sentence in Loving the Sisters. It's a
Okay.
continuation of the story. So I have
Yeah.
had some fans who have been waiting for Loving the Sisters for 4 years, which is an incredibly long time. I've
Oh.
been on a journey in terms of writing the book, and then finding a publisher has been difficult as well. But I'm happy
Oh.
to report that Loving the Sisters will be published in July this year. And I'm working
Okay.
fast towards making sure that that happens. So that's Loving the Sisters. In the meantime, I haven't stopped writing. So
Oh.
Loving the Children is part three.
All
So
right now.
yeah, I'm
All
not messing
right.
around. I'm not messing around. So part
I know,
three
right?
is about the fallout. So
Oh,
things happen in the book. There are repercussions for my characters in loving the children. And
yes.
that's where I thought the story ended until just recently, two characters popped up and one said, well, what about loving the widows? And the other one said, what about loving the fathers? And I'm saying, hold on, right now. I just want to concentrate on getting
Oh,
loving
boy,
the sisters out there. Yeah,
getting
yeah.
your
I
work
don't
on
need, I
time,
can't
right?
hold all of these, all of these different storylines in my head. I just need to concentrate on loving the sisters. So it's been an amazing process. I'm looking forward to seeing the books in a box set. I think that would
Yes.
be really, really special to see all three books together. So that's what I'm working
Yes.
on.
Oh, okay. 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 So, can you read us a little bit out of loving the brothers?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Loving the brothers.
Yeah, I'm going to read from chapter one. And the
Hmm.
first character is her name is Patty.
Okay.
I just about caught the 17 train from Camden Overground Station to Stratford Station. Given that the rush hour was in full effect, I was prepared to stand all the way to Westfield until a young brother motioned to me to sit down in his seat. I didn't argue with him because my feet were killing me from wearing shoes at the office, high heel shoes at the office all day. Thank you,
Yes.
I said with a smile, and I hurried awkwardly to trade places with him. He stood
Mhm.
over me, smiling back, and oh, what a smile. All of a sudden, I felt myself blush, or was it a hot flush? It was difficult to tell at my age. Either way, I had to tell myself to calm down. Beads of sweat suddenly formed on my brow as I frantically looked through my huge messenger bag for my fan. All the time, this brother was observing me as if I was his entertainment. I couldn't find my fan, which I thought I must have left in my clutch bag, the one I used the previous weekend when I attended a fundraiser at Stoke Newington Town Hall for people living with chronic kidney disease. So I ended up fanning myself with the old Metro newspaper that I picked up from the station on my way to work. I planned
Mhm.
on completing the Sudoku quiz during my break, but I ended up working through lunch. My makeshift fan wasn't working too well, so I slipped it back into my bag and undid my belt on my Peruna Mac and the top two buttons of my shirt. I was trying to look anywhere except up. I looked over to my left. An Eastern European man was sitting next to me in his muddy Stone Island tracksuit and an orange high visibility jacket. He looked as though he'd spent the whole day working down a sewer, and he smelt like it too. I
Mhm.
managed to suppress the bile rising in my throat, and I quickly looked over to my right. The student in her school uniform sitting next to me was listening to music on her smartphone with a poker face. In fact, most of the passengers in my carriage appeared to be plugged into one device or another. I don't understand how people can listen to music without reacting in some way. When I listen to music, I want to bop my head, tap my feet, dance, or sing along. I couldn't just sit there. I love listening to music, especially live music. At the moment, I'm on a reggae vibe, having seen Chronics in concert at Somerset House. The concert was so uplifting. I would definitely go and see him live, perform live again. Anyway, when I thought Mr. Man, the gentleman who gave up his seat for me, wasn't looking, I took a sneaky peek at him. He's about 6'4", caramel brown in complexion, like a digestive biscuit, medium build, but muscular. The colour of his eyes was obscured by his sunglasses, but I imagined they were the same light brown as mine. Cute looking, nice goatee, and not that much younger than me, I thought. Shoulder length dreadlocks neatly tied into a loose ponytail. Ralph Lauren t shirt and probably Ralph Lauren jeans too, which he wore very well. He definitely works out, I thought, while I observed him as he gripped the rail above with both hands, exposing the bottom end of his six pack. To avoid looking any lower, I quickly looked up at him, and there he was, smiling down at me again, like something sweet him. It was then I noticed his gold tooth and I instantly lost attraction. I winced and I thought to myself, yes, he's an FOB, a fresh off the boat. I retrieved my paper and I started the Sudoku quiz on page 46. Oh, today.
That's good. 'Cause I remember reading that part in the book and it made me laugh. Oh my goodness.
I
Oh my goodness.
despite
Uh-huh.
the subject, I do think that there are moments that I hope that people understand and they laugh out loud as well. I don't want the book to be heavy all the way through because life isn't like that. There are moments that pop up where people laugh, cry.
Mhm.
You saying that comment shows that it's been understood universally.
Yeah.
It's not just a British thing.
Uh-huh.
You'll get
Yeah.
it. And people who read the book and feedback to me, they get it as well.
Okay. All right. Because your book is marvelous. Book is marvelous.
Thank you.
I enjoyed reading it very much. I enjoyed it very, very much. And I will be recommending it to other people to read as well.
Thank you.
So, Miss Hayes, what do you see yourself doing? Where do you see yourself going with this writing career? Where do you see yourself going?
Yeah, it's become bigger than me now.
Uh-huh.
My original why was wanting to fulfill a dream and ambition that I had to write a book and to publish a book. But
Mm-hmm.
it's been received so well that men and women are
Mm-hmm.
now reaching out to me on social media to tell me their issues around domestic abuse. They want to tell their stories. They want help for the predicament that they are in. So it's become bigger than me now. So Loving the Sisters is just about is the next natural step in terms of finishing off the that part of the story. And
Mm-hmm.
I want to continue to use the book to raise awareness globally about domestic abuse. When I was
Mm-hmm.
writing Loving the Sisters, as you know, domestic abuse, the stats rose globally during the pandemic and lockdown because
Mm-hmm.
couples were forced to spend,
Time to
the whole
time
day in
together.
lockdown together.
Mm-hmm.
And the cases of domestic abuse arose around the world. And that, I suppose, where I can't get across the whole world, the book can.
Uh-huh.
And the book is being enjoyed and read in Australia, New Zealand, throughout the Caribbean, in Africa, you name it, the book is being read there. And hopefully, it will raise awareness for the people who read it. Because I find that in my experience, a lot of people know what domestic violence is, but they do
Mm-hmm.
not know what domestic abuse is in terms of all the other controlling and coercive behavior that happens as well. So issues
Mm-hmm.
around financial abuse, emotional abuse, use of male privilege, using children,
Mm-hmm.
minimizing their behavior, all of those things people are totally unaware of and have an understanding of what it can look like and how domestic abuse can manifest itself through reading a
Mm-hmm.
book such as Loving the Brothers.
Oh, okay, 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 okay. So let's talk about your podcast. Let's
Yeah.
talk about your podcast. So what is author to author podcast about?
Yes, and it's funny you should mention that because I interviewed a lovely author last week.
Yeah.
I cannot wait
Yeah.
for her episode to come up on the podcast. Um, I have been fortunate to be on the receiving end of loads of lovely opportunities as a result of writing this book. But there were
Mhm.
also there's a bit of snobbery in publishing as well. So if you're traditionally published, you're likely to get more opportunities to be on TV, radio, etc. And what I
Mhm.
noticed as a self-published author, um, uh, the opportunities weren't there for everybody. It's not a level playing field. And
Mhm.
I'm not one to wait around for opportunities. Where there isn't one, then I create an opportunity. So
Yes.
I thought, well, while I'm waiting for this publisher to show up to publish Love in the Sisters, let me be proactive about shedding the light on other self-published authors who
Mm-hmm.
need their share of the limelight. So I created the Author to Author podcast where I interview self-published authors from around the world. That's the only criteria is that you would have had to have been self-published or independently published. So that's where you're using a publishing services to get your book out there. And
Mm-hmm.
I think when I was putting the list together of all the self-published authors that I know, I already had 30 people who I could put on the podcast. So that was 3 seasons that I already had. The Author to Author podcast was launched on the 8th of March, 2021. And it's been a roller coaster. I'm looking around my office space now. I have got
Mm-hmm.
stacks and stacks of books. People have been sending books from all over the world to take
Mm-hmm.
part in the podcast. We've just
Mm-hmm.
finished season 2, so that's about to go out live each week. We've got it on 9 listening platforms, from Spotify right the way through to Listen Notes. I'm trying to get Audible so that it will go out on Amazon Prime. And I have got 4 radio stations who are interested in it going out every single week as well. So it's been a lot of work to try and coordinate it, because we have lots of competition prizes for our for our listeners to get hold of. And the podcast needs to go out at the same time so everyone has an equal chance of entering the competitions. And I
Yes.
love it. I love interviewing self-published authors. I love hearing about their journeys. I love hearing about what inspired them to get to this point. Why writing now? Especially when it's a mature woman like myself who maybe have had other careers, and it's something that they've always wanted to do, and they're putting their books out there. And they're not all fiction. Some are self-help books. We're writing in every genre. And I've got some youngsters who are coming through who are coming through in season 3. And that's really nice to see as well, that our young people are writing books. They're writing science fiction. They're writing books just for boys. It's been fantastic. So uh, when I decided I was going to do it, I actually announced it on Women's International Women's Day. And
Mm-hmm.
thereafter, I picked up the phone and I contacted Dolgetty Teas. They are an established Caribbean herbal tea company, and I asked for
Mm-hmm.
sponsorship. So I pitched to them the Friday after International Women's Day, and by the end of that call, they said that they will sponsor me. So I
Oh,
don't have to worry about paying for editing services or for someone to produce everything. Dolgetty picked that all up, and they send me a full complement of Dolgetty teas. And they
okay.
also created a discount code for the podcast as well, so that my listeners can get 10% off Dolgetty teas. So yeah, I'm having a fun time with that, with the podcast.
Oh, okay, 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 okay. So, tell us, what are the requirements for a author to become part of Author to Author podcast?
Yeah, I mean, no problem at all. They would have had to have been self-published, and they will have to be prepared to give me at least 2 copies of their books, one for me so that I can have a read before I interview them, and the second copy is to give away as a competition prize as well. It will cost you your time, and it will cost you your energy, because I want you to come in enthusiastic and
Yeah.
wanting to share the podcast link when it comes through with friends and family. In
Mm-hmm.
season 1, I created a competition amongst my guests to see who
Mm-hmm.
could get the most plays on Spotify. And I
Mm-hmm.
cannot believe how competitive they were. So they were sharing it with everybody, people that they speak to, people that they don't
Mm-hmm.
speak to. Ex-husbands got copies of the podcast. They were just going
Mm-hmm.
all out to
Yeah.
win. And I awarded them just a little trophy. I've got an example of one here,
Uh-huh.
just a little trophy. Um,
Okay. That's cute.
and yeah, one
Yeah.
gold, one silver, one bronze. And I
Mhm.
thought, well, we will definitely in 2022 run that competition again,
Uh-huh.
because obviously it's in my interest to get as many plays as possible globally. And it's
Okay.
also in their interest to get their voices heard, and people knowing about
Yes.
their books globally as well. But yeah, the competition was all in good fun. And we
Uh-huh.
got a gold, silver, and bronze awards went out
Okay.
last year. Yeah.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. So tell us how we, as how my viewers can get in contact with you. Okay,
Yeah.
how can we? Yes.
I would say the main place to get hold of me will be via Instagram. So
Hmm.
if you go to my Instagram page, which is at Loving the Brothers Author, send me
Hmm.
a direct message there, a DM there, and I will then be able to give out the email address for the podcast inquiries, and we can
Hmm.
start the ball rolling from there. What I don't want to do is to give out the email address live here, and then I'm inundated with lots of spam. So the best way to contact me would be through the Instagram page. But I'm also on Facebook, and my
Hmm.
author page is called Loving the Brothers by Pamela R Haynes. So you can send me a message through there as well.
Okay.
But I also strongly suggest that your listeners go on to Spotify and the other platforms. All they're all there, and have a listen to the podcast to see whether you think it's a good fit for for your book.
Okay.
And we can take it from there. So that's what I would suggest that people do. Right now, I've got all of my books for season 3. So I will
Okay.
be contacting those interviews quite shortly. But
Hmm.
I'm always stockpiling for the next episode, the next
Yeah.
season, which will be season 4. So people are in
Hmm.
good time. I've got ten slots for season 4. If people want to contact me, they'll be booked straight in.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right, Miss Hayes. Let me say how we had a marvelous time with you. A marvelous, marvelous time. Is there anything else you would want to tell us about you, Miss Pamela?
No, just really to follow my page so that people can be the first to be in the know about what's happening with the second book. I think
Hmm.
that's a good idea if you follow me there. I like to think that my page is quite interactive and a fun place to be. So if you want to be part of my book journey and see how well I'm doing, if you want to know the new developments with the second and third book, that will be the place where I will be announcing, making those kind of announcements.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think that's what I would encourage people to do. So just to follow me and interact with the kind of things that I'm doing.
Oh, okay, okay. All right, Miss Pamela. I see you got the mugs. How do we get the mugs?
Well, I'm planning if people want them. They again DM me. If
Hmm.
people like them, I've got one with Loving the Sisters on it as well.
Okay.
Um, and I managed to send out quite a few during the pandemic. Everybody was at home, so I managed to send a few to them. But yeah, I'm planning on doing bookmarks and key rings and all the usual stuff if people want them. But it all started off with me just making one for myself so that when I'm
Okay.
on all of these Zoom calls and
Mhm.
StreamYards and everything, I've got a cup
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
nice cup to pose with. So that's how that started.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. It has been a pleasure, Miss Haynes. It's been a
Thank
pleasure
you.
having you on Authors Excerpt Sunday. And I wish you all the more of may God bless you in your writing career, dear. And
Many
I thank
thanks.
you so much. And I know life has gotten us a lot of time on our hands because of the pandemic. And I want you to enjoy your grandbaby. Enjoy the grandbaby. Enjoy the grandbaby.
I certainly am. I met her for the first time yesterday, and I have no words. She's so beautiful. And
Yeah, I
it was
know.
lovely just to sit and look at her. I could just watch her forever, really. So that was a really beautiful moment. And Out of everything that I have done, since the book came out, being able to look at her and see that she's here, she's
Hmm.
well, she's
Hmm.
thriving. It was just absolutely amazing. I'm trying to work out how I can see her again, and unfortunately, they live very far away from us. So, we will do our best to keep in communication with them.
Okay. All right. Hold on 1 minute. Okay. Hold.